Everyone, it's Joe from Loudwire. Sitting next to me is Frank Carter, which means, Dean, you must be one of the Rattlesnakes.
That's true, yeah.
So, Dean is the king of the Rattlesnakes, really.
So the new album, End of Suffering, is out now. And a lot of this deals with coping with mental health struggles, and really just kind of seems like your vehicle for exercising some demons here.
Yeah.
And one of the singles, Anxiety, no secret what that's about. And I know, Frank, you've publicly struggled with a lot of mental health issues, even backed out of a tour with Papa Roach to focus on you, which is the most important thing to do. So can you tell me, what are some of maybe your triggers for anxiety? When do you start to feel it creep in the most?
Oh, anything can be a trigger, you know, literally anything, any kind of level of stress. Yeah, it's bizarre, like the kind of things that set me off are bizarre, and I'm just like in it, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I'm watching like The Lion King and now I'm super panicked, like, wow, I didn't see that coming, you know? But it's strange, man. It's like, life is complicated. You know, always, at all times. And for me, you know, it's just about understanding what it is. You know, for a long, long time, I had no real knowledge about what it was I was feeling. Yeah, I just felt nauseous.
Right, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I felt super uncomfortable, and that would set me into a state of panic. And then when I finally was like understood that anxiety can give you all of those symptoms, like, my whole life got a lot easier because I can just successfully like identify when I was having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and I could just say to myself, like, bro, you're in it now, like, this is gonna be bad for 20 minutes, and if you can make it through that, like, it gets easier, because that's actually like the length of a panic attack. It's like,
it's 20 minutes.
It like dies out in 20 minutes. If you can make it through that, like, you're good. And usually the first couple of minutes are the worst, and that sends you into a spiral. But yeah, if you, it's funny, man, like, someone said to me that tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Now, you two live together. Do you start to notice when one or another gets anxious, and do you do anything to try to help the other one get through that moment?
Yeah. I think you're really good at identifying. I think we both are.
Yeah, I think you're like the only person that identifies with me. I feel like I'm good at keeping what's going on in me away from everyone except for this guy. And it's kind of like sometimes quite frustrating, because sometimes all you want to do is sort of recluse and not deal with what's going on. But it's really useful if you've got someone that is kind of like respectful of like space and not kind of like forcing you to kind of take it on if it's not the right time.
It's usually just a hug.
Yeah.
Like, it's genuinely, like, usually, like, if I see him, like, if we're in a show day or whatever, and like one of us is feeling particularly stressed, like any of our crew, any of our crew or our band, like anyone, you just don't say anything. You just go give him a cuddle, like, just give him a cuddle, and then, but don't let them go. That's the important bit. It's just like hold on to them like a bit longer than is comfortable for them, and then after a while, you just feel their whole body relax, and then you're like, there you go, I got you. Like, and then it's like, that's, you know, because there's not enough kindness in the world, and there's not enough, like, I mean, men particularly, man, we're so like,
You can't hug, you can't cry,
yeah,
you can't say I love you, man, stuff like that.
Yeah, society has just been so savage to us for years and years and years. Generations has just taught, you know, the patriarchal society that we live in, it's crushed all of that out. It's like, you know, repress your emotions, suppress your feelings, like, don't show any form of weakness, being vulnerable is a sin, like. So.
Yeah, and now a lot of the conversation around mental health is you're not alone, and you know, reach out to somebody. But if it was that easy to reach out, people would be doing it already. So what can you say for somebody who maybe does not struggle with any mental health issues? How can they reach out? How can they recognize? Because I imagine the last thing somebody wants to be told is how to feel or what to do by somebody who can't relate to that exact experience.
It's never ever about having the answers, ever. Like, you don't. I don't think medical professionals do ever, because everybody's problems are so unique to themselves. And so for someone to have all of the answers, they're like Neo in the Matrix. It's like visiting the Oracle, like, you can't do that. So what I would say is, like, the greatest way you can help someone is just to listen. You don't have to have any answers, because a lot of the time the problems that we have, like, at least, you know, speaking from my own personal experience, the problems I have are in myself. They're with myself. You know, they're not with the world around me. Like, I tell myself they are, but they're not. It's all from me, and I'm constantly fighting myself. I'm my own worst enemy. So, like, when the best thing that anyone can ever do for me, which he does all the time, is just listen when I need to talk. He never has any answers. Sometimes he has an opinion on stuff and it gives me a different perspective, but he never ever once has told me this is what you need to do right now. Like, you know, because ultimately he doesn't want to be responsible for that either, you know, because if he gives me some advice and I follow it to the button and then I'm in a worse place, like our friendship's going to struggle. Yeah, that's not what this is about.
Therapists don't do that either.
Exactly.
Therapists just keep you talking so that you can explore stuff. Like,
yeah.
So that's probably like a thing that they definitely have decided is not, it's not safe to tell someone exactly what to do, but it does help a lot to talk to someone about it and just kind of just, I think when you say some things, it sometimes takes away how when someone doesn't react with the sort of like disaster that is in your head, it makes you feel, okay, maybe it's not so much of a disaster. Like.
And it's about that constant pressure that builds, you know, that's what anxiety feels like to me, is just like a constant, steady level of pressure that just gets bigger and bigger until I feel like I'm going to explode. Every single time I talk, that's venting, you know, it's just a little bit, pressure level drops a bit and it gets back down in the green and we're
Boiling
safe
water
a bit.
simmers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, otherwise I walk around feeling like a nuclear reactor. I mean, the British mantra since World War I was keep calm and carry on. Like, that's utterly ridiculous. Like, you know, you're in a f***ing war. You're in a war, do you know what I mean? To ask people to go through that and see what they're seeing and experience what they're experiencing and just stay calm and ignore and carry on. That's like, that was the birth of true repressed feeling.
So let's talk about the song Crowbar. So what I interpreted Crowbar as, you know, crowbar is a prying tool, something that you use to get access to a place that you didn't have before. And that's what I took away from the song. So Frank, Dean, what are your kind of your crowbars for when you're feeling overwhelmed, whether it's anxiety or depression, anything else like that?
I think exercise is key.
Yeah, I think that going to the gym, that's something that I use definitely. And like, mostly I think what I realise is because you can't really go on your phone at the gym, you can't like deal with a lot of things. So it's like a forced like break from everything you've got going on. And I mean, there's loads of stuff about the exercise actually being good for you as well. But I think for me, it's the like taking 2 hours out of a day and then realising that nothing really goes that wrong in 2 hours.
Totally,
Like,
totally.
so then for the rest of the day, I'm a little bit more like, oh, I'll deal with that in half an hour. I can just be a bit more relaxed.
It's just good to get the blood flowing around you as well, and like we spend so much of our time just sat glued.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're always constantly like inundated with information, other people's information. You know, like it's like maybe I don't need that in my head right now. So I climb. I just go bouldering a lot.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been able to for a while because I tore my rotator cuff not climbing. Doing a handstand on a human being.
I was gonna say hanging from the ceiling in the
No,
lights last night.
Yeah, that was I'm hurting some morning from that, but usually I go climbing because it's the same thing. Like, you definitely can't like pop your phone out and take a selfie while you're up on the wall. You just have to, you know, unless you're Alex Honnold.
Yeah, some people can.
Yeah, but it's just about, you know, like taking that time out of your day to just slow things down, you know, or speed things up, but like away from the world, you know, just with you.
Kind of like maybe not so much a meditation. I know a lot of people are like, I can't focus, I can't get in the zone for meditation, but still meditation kind of be just a break from technology, just stepping out from the everyday world.
Meditation is time of yourself. It's time to think for yourself, and it's about removing like all outside influence.
Yeah,
I went to
I
went and had the physio look at my shoulder the other day, and she was like, oh, you know, we've got this flotation tank, you should come here and have a go on it. And I was like, how am I going to take an hour out of my day to just sit in salt water? You know, like, I can't do that. And then when I went for my second appointment, she was like, oh, I've booked you an hour in the float tank, it's free. And I was like, I guess I'm going in the float tank. And I just laid in there for an hour.
Did you like it? I've been meaning to do it for like 2 years.
It was so sick. I was just there, just like, wow. It was, and you can't think, you know, you think you had the same stuff coming in and out of your head, but it just vanishes because you're floating in warm water. It's like going back to the womb.